Very good evening, friends. A very, very warm welcome to a session that is going to be so exciting between two wonderful, beautiful, and talented ladies. Devika Das, whose book, The Mind Game, will be discussed between her and Joey Bose. So, without further ado, I will quickly introduce the ladies and then Joey will take over. So I start with Devika Das. She's an award winning author and actor. She pursues her passion for writing and theatre in Hyderabad. Her title, The Mind Game, is a national bestseller and is now available at bookstores in London. She has recently published a Hindi short story, Meghna, with Blue Rose Publishers. She has won the National Award for Short Films, Waterman, and The Silent Voice, directed by Anshul Sinha. Devika has been invited as a speaker for many national literary festivals, TED circles, and also judged several literary competitions organized by schools and colleges. Currently, she is working as a content strategist for an IT company in Hyderabad. Devika, thank you so much to a
Thank you.
yet another enthralling session that's going to take place soon. And now for Joey Bose, the founder of Poetry Paradigm has won the Bharat Nirvan Award for Literature, the Nissim International Award for Poetry, Woman Par Excellence Award for Literature, and Go Diva Awards as well. Joey had won the GIZ Microsoft Create to Inspire Fellowship as well. She has two volumes of poetry accredited to her and has edited six anthologies so far. She has worked with poetry initiatives with USIS Library, with poetry initiatives with USIS Library, New Delhi, British Council, Oxford Bookstore. Joey has performed internationally in Tokyo, Shanghai, Stratford, Edinburgh, and Hanoi, and nationally as a part of the Tata Kolkata Literary Meet, the APJ Kolkata Literary Festival, Bob Dylan Festival, amongst others. Thank you, Joey, and really looking forward you being in conversation with Devika, and over to you.
Thanks so much, Mona. This is such a pleasure and an honor. And let me begin with a short story about my relationship with this book, The Mind Game, that is Devika's book, because this evening is going to be all about stories. So when this book was first given to me and I started reading it, something happened, okay, and this program, which is happening on the 12th of February, was actually supposed to happen a month back. But then again, pandemic was there and everybody was falling sick. And that made me, that made me read this. I had enough time, right? And I ended up reading this twice before I got into this conversation. So Devika, it makes it quite challenging for you because I would be like that teacher, okay? I would be like the teacher who would ask you line by line. But you know what is so, but what is most interesting about this book when I picked it up first, I thought it would be something about strategy. Okay, it is about strategy and mostly war strategy, and that right because that's what the name suggests, mind game. And when you think about strategy, you also think of Sun Tzu and the art of war. So first question to you is, have you been influenced by Sun Tzu's art of war?
So I would say, see, war or peace or any kind of relationship has a lot of emotions behind it, right? Behind the so particularly, I would say Sun Tzu's Art of War. No, I won't say that I have been influenced by it, but I would say that the book has been more influenced by The Alchemist, written by Paulo Coelho. Yeah, I think that
Oh,
was a,
wow.
yes, yes. I think it
In
is more
fact,
influenced by The Alchemist.
oh, I would love to know that story, how. But before I get into that, how, uh, since it's absolutely not influenced by Sun Tzu's art of war, in that part of, so that mind game is struck off, nothing negative here. So, but this book is actually influenced uh, by your mindset, by your thought process, and actually by your subjectivization as a woman that happened from the time you became a thinking woman. And that is basically the time from when you started writing poetry. So, as a young teenager, you had written a beautiful poem. So, would you like to share that with us before we move ahead?
Yes, that will be really an honor for me that I will share my first poem, which I had written at the age of 13. And so it's titled, Isn't It True? Isn't it true? If a student doesn't work hard, the teacher criticizes. Isn't it true? If a person fails, he considers himself an inferior. Isn't it true that joys seem sweeter if they come after many sorrows? Isn't it true that rain after scorching summer heat makes people dance to music and beat? Yes, it is true. Life is full of surprises, giving success to one whom one criticizes. For life is full of hardships and constraints. The true winner tackles them without restraint. This is something I had written when I was 30.
13.
Yes.
And what was your mother's reaction to this?
So my mother's reaction to this was that she was first of all very amazed and surprised by my mindset because she said she had heard these kind. My paternal grandfather, Amar Thakurda, my Thakurda was had an attraction for philosophy, and she had heard such phrases from him, and she said that I can see a reflection of him in you with the way you think and the way you have written the poem. I think there are some glimpses of your Thakurda. And so that was a very big realization for me. Yeah.
And then what happened? So
And
you
then
wrote
what
your first book.
happened?
So tell me about your journey, okay? I love your journey as a human being. And since we are getting the opportunity, and since all the all our audience, they're getting the opportunity of hearing you, I think that is very important in excavating the author behind the mind game. And I think that is one way of entering the book.
So I had siblings, but I was a great observer and a great thinker right from my teenage. I used to observe human behavior, and I used to read a lot about it. And I think that gift has been given by my Thakurda. And I used to also like sometimes just waiting for my school bus. I used to paint, or I used to write few lines of my verse, and I was very observant. I was very observant, and yes, I remember this thing that we used to have slam books. Growing up in the 90s, we were the slam book generation. And in the slam books, there was a specific question: what do you want to become in the future? To my surprise now, I always used to write that I wanted to be a good human being. I don't know from where this answer came, but I used to always write the same answer, that I want to be a good human being always. Whereas my friends used to write that they want to become a doctor, an engineer, I used to think that okay, I want to become a good human being. Then in 2002, after my schooling got over, I went to Bangalore for my graduation, and there I got introduced to theater. Theater, I got introduced.
Devika, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think there's some network issue. Let Joey come
Okay,
back. Just a minute.
sure, sure.
She's back.
Hi, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. So I was just saying
I
that.
heard you speak about your slam book.
So slam book, so that was the answer I used to give in the slam book, that I want to be a good human being. And then in 2002, I shifted to Bangalore for my graduation, where I took up theater as a hobby, and I used to go for rehearsals and theater. And my involvement in theater, participation in theater, helped me realize human behavior in depth, because the roles that I played and the people I used to work with, they taught me a lot. And I learned about myself, about others. So it was a great learning experience. Uh, and yes, there were troubling times also, where I used to feel very low. But how did I overcome them? How did I overcome them? The lessons that I have learned have been mentioned in the mind game. That is how the mind game has shaped up.
That's beautiful. You also said, while sharing this, you also said that uh, it is important to be a good human being, right? However, in one of our previous conversations, you said that your experience in theater, where you performed many different roles, that has made you believe that uh, there is nothing good or bad, but
Yes.
people are subject, are a product of their circumstances. Would you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I have done a lot of roles in my theater participation in my theater projects. I have performed various roles, and through that journey as a theater artist, I have come to know that, see, there are good and bad in every one of us. In each one of us, there is a good side and a bad side. So for some, the good dominates the bad, while it is the opposite for the others. Now, what happens is when we see a person, we just judge their actions or their first impressions that we get. We don't really understand what is the story of the person. Where has the person come from? What has led that person to inculcate such a behavior? We don't analyze this much. Even ourselves, if we think the kind of upbringing that we have had has some way or the other affected our mindset. There are so many stereotypes that we see around us, but are we strong enough to challenge those and break it? I don't think so. And those who are able to do it carve their own niche and carve their own path. So, I am a great fan. I'm a huge fan of crime fiction. So I used to read how what goes behind the psychology, what goes inside criminal psychology, and it was a very great revelation that the person who is doing the wrong thing may be considering that as an absolute truth, because truth in itself cannot be absolute, can never be absolute. There is nothing called absolute truth. What is truth for me will not be truth for you. It is based on our experiences, on our mindset, on our thought process. That is why the three things that I have learned from after writing the mind game: one is never judge anybody. become aware about yourself first. Then the third thing I will say is trust your capabilities and never indulge in the blame game, because that never helps. It is very easy. It is an escape route actually, blaming somebody else for your fault or your failure. But blaming yourself is it requires a lot of courage.
Okay, so let's start about, let's get to the book, okay? The Mind Game. Now, first thing, let's talk about the title. Was this the first title that came to your mind, or were there others?
Actually, I didn't think about the title when I started the writing the mind game. First, I was just shortlisting topics, and there was no proper procedure or process that I had chalked out to write the mind game. I had just shortlisted or just jotted out topics that I wanted to write about. And I said, okay, these topics have something in common, like anger management, leading a simple life, emotional intelligence. I thought these have something in common, and what is common is we think with our brain. So that is how the mind game came into the picture. Because many a times we think that our mind plays games with our emotions, right? So that was
So
the thought process.
beautiful, beautiful. So when Devika, when you wanted to, what societal problem does the Mind Game solve?
Societal problem, it will lead to like the development of emotional intelligence, awareness about what causes stress, what is depression in real and scientific terms, because nowadays we use the term depression very loosely,
Mm.
and we are very casual about it without knowing that what a serious problem it is, and considering the shortage of practicing psychologists in India. It is a very grave problem for Indians, because mental health has always been considered a taboo. And we do not talk about mental health in the same breath as physical health. So everybody says that you should have a good body, but nobody says you should have a good mind or a good mindset. Nobody cares about it. And you
If
can,
I,
yes.
if I might ask, what exactly do you mean here? And I'm sure, and this is something that everyone, would like to know. What or how would you define a good mindset, number one? And number two, could you talk a little bit more about EQ? The world is going gaga about EQ, right? Emotional quotient, okay. But at the same time, we know that to be overtly and that is what your book also talks about. Being overtly emotional is not a solution. So could you elaborate a little bit on those lines?
Yes. So basically, what happens is we are a good mindset is nothing but nurturing healthy thoughts. What will be healthy thoughts is you empower others, you have a helping attitude, you are cooperative, and you want to work. You are a team player. You are a team player rather than you becoming an isolated person. You want to work with people, and you become people friendly. That is what the mind game teaches, that how to coexist, coexist with different people without giving up your set of values and your set of morals, how to coexist and how to accept different people, because nobody is same. You and I are same, but can we respect our differences and coexist? Why not?
You have actually theoretized this. I'm reminded of John Lennon, and how he sang that, imagine a world, and he gave the vision, but he has not given the formula by which people can coexist, right? So what is the formula as per Devika Das?
So before coming to the formula, I'll just answer your previous question, which you said about where you said that what inspired the mind game
Yeah,
and
yeah.
EQ and the societal impact what it has had. So basically, EQ is something which is very important nowadays because somewhere we have become very confused. We are living a very confused life. We don't know what we want. We have so many options in front of us. Should we run towards option 1 or option 2, option 3, option 4? And in solving this puzzle, what is happening is we are faced with a lot of emotions ourselves, which is leading to stress on a daily basis. What EQ does is EQ helps you to channelize your emotions in a healthy way and nurture your mindset. It's, and as you said, becoming overtly emotional. Like, see, expressing your emotions is not bad, but becoming overtly emotional is the danger. Because what will happen is you will react or react in extremes then. Either you will be extremely happy or ecstatic about your successes, and you will be feeling extremely low when you fail. What happens when you have an when you have EQ is you maintain an equilibrium. It is very important to maintain an equilibrium. Like, keep your successes and failure at the same level. Treat it in the same way. Neither become too egoistic when you are successful, nor become too shy or too hesitant when you fail. So that's what I
Right.
thought.
In fact, as you start talking about workplace, one of the chapters I really liked, okay, was you know, was titled "Angry, Don't Be." And I realized the moment I saw it. Whenever I get angry, my husband tells me calm down, and I tell him when someone's angry, but just by telling them calm down, you can't calm down, right? But here you have categorically, step by step, revealed how to handle anger. So, could you tell us a little bit more about this bit?
Yeah, so anger management is one of the, see, anger is
So, what
one
is
of,
anger as per you? What is anger? Why does it happen? Before we manage that, we need to understand this.
yes. So anger is an expression of our disappointment or our frustration that is filled within us, which comes out because we are dissatisfied. The dissatisfaction, the cause of the dissatisfaction may be internal because we expected something more out of ourselves and we could not deliver that. Or it might have an external stimuli. Somebody else has provoked us by which we are angry. Somebody else has done something else, something by which we are angry. So first of all, for anger management, you have to first understand what is the cause. Why are you angry? Take like many if you remember, there was a movie Chak De India in which one of the hockey players, the one from Punjab, used to get very angry and the coach tells her pani pee le, thanda pani pee le. What it does is that interval or that break of 5 minutes lets you analyze internally whether the source or the cause of anger is trivial or is it a very big problem, because many a times we get irritated, we get frustrated because of trivial reasons. It may not impact our lives in any way, but still we get angry. What happens is anger management. First, I learned from my grandmother. This is Amadida. my maternal grandmother. So I have mentioned it in the book as well. Though
I
that
know,
tip,
I know. That's why I said, and we all have.
yeah,
I was just hoping you mentioned this because we all have such fond memories of our grandmothers.
yes. So my grandmother told me that whenever you get angry, start counting backwards from 100 to 1. And many a times I have seen that by the time I reached 95, I had become calm. I didn't know what was the reason for getting angry. I didn't remember it. So that means it was a very trivial reason. And I was just irritated. And use, and what happens is sometimes that irritation, that source of irritation, if you, that feeling of irritation, if you keep it suppressed, if you suppress it, it keeps on growing, growing, growing. And one day it will burst as a volcano.
Right.
So that's why I have mentioned that never suppress your emotions, because what happens is, I have mentioned a quote as well, that unexpressed emotions don't die. They remain suppressed and come out in more disastrous form. So I think that is why EQ is important.
Absolutely, it's very well explained, Devika. In fact, next one was anger management strategies, and trust me, that is something my son would love it if I read it and practiced it. Because especially when he doesn't do homework, now, well, world falls apart. However, on a serious note, what anger management tips? I mean, and if anyone wants to really know and they are really good, all that you've written here, but if you want to reveal, and people can just uh, buy a copy of the mind game, yay. And meanwhile, but would you be in a position to share at least one tip? Don't reveal all. One tip, one real tangible tip, not just the one that your grandmother gave you, by which they can handle anger not at home but at the workplace. Something that's very, very practical.
See, anger, one of the things, major things, is first to how to realize what you are going through, what is causing the anger. How do you realize that? So one of the tips that I follow is, first of all, why am I feeling? These are few questions that I answer immediately when I get. I used to write it down first in the initial stages of my anger management. I used to write it down. First, who has made me angry? Second question, why am I getting angry with that person's comment or remark? What is making what part of the statement, or what part of the comment is making me angry? Am I getting into self guilt? So I do a quick SWOT analysis at that time. But basically,
But is it possible? Do you actually believe that when you're angry, it's possible for someone to do
see, it is
this?
something you have to train your mind. It is something you have to consciously train your mind to think like that. That when you are getting angry, first of all, take a pause, take a few deep breaths, and just focus on yourself and ask yourself, why are you getting angry? Doing this helps you understand your own behavior, what you expected, what are your own expectations from yourself, what
Mhm.
expectations have others set for you. Because see, we are all, sometimes burdened by external expectations,
Yes.
and sometimes it takes a toll on our mental health. We are trying to satisfy somebody else rather than ourselves. So ask yourself this question, that if that person has made me angry, Have I given more liberty to that person to dominate me or dominate my actions?
Oh,
these
that's
are
nice.
these are some, like, there are whole lot of tips given in the book, but
Yes, of course.
as
It's
you said,
filled
I
with
will
so
not give
many
it
tips.
all.
Yeah, it's filled with so many. In fact, I love this other bit that you said, why happy workplace is important, right? Because a lot of people have this belief that, ha, theek hai, we'll go, we'll work, we'll come back, end of the month, we'll get our, salary and ho jayega, khatam. But you have said that it is, no, that is not done. But a happy workplace is important.
Definitely, because see, you are spending 8 to 9 hours at your work. Your productivity is dependent on whether you are interested in your work or not. And you will be interested in your work only if you're happy and satisfied with your work. If you are not, then either you find the reason, talk to your manager, or find another way out. No other option.
Yeah, and also you spoke about the environment that you want to create.
Yes, the environment.
Hello, audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Right. So, like I was saying, it's important at every step for us to understand that a happy workplace is, yeah. So, how a person behaves, okay, how a person has to behave with another person, your co-worker. In fact, I'll just quote from the book. You say working with a colleague you don't like, okay, and how important that is while creating a happy workspace, right? So can you elaborate on that? Like, how can one accept, or why should it matter, especially in this day and age when everything is, automation driven and things are going digital? So how important is relationship that one maintains with the co-workers? And related to it, I'll also ask, can co-workers become friends?
It depends. I have had co-workers who have become, some of the co-workers have become good friends. So, like, even we meet after office hours as well, and we socialize. So, that is there, and we are not just social friends. We are like, in the real terms friends. Yeah. So we help each other out also. So, but what happens is, this is the same thing. Respecting difference of opinion. Are you training your mind to respect difference of opinion? What if you do not say yes to my viewpoint? Does that mean you are a bad person? No, you are not. It is just that your belief system is different from mine. And it shows my tolerance level and my patience level. If I am getting triggered by every point that you are contradicting, that shows my weakness, not that it is not that person's fault. It is my weakness that I am less tolerant. And it also shows that if the other person is saying something, listen to the other person. Listen to the other person. That it does not mean that you have to change your life just because the other person has a different belief system. You can coexist in the workplace as well. See, first of all, you have to communicate that, okay, we have different belief systems, but your approach, your method of approaching a task and my method of approaching a task is X and Y. Can we come to a middle path and find a solution where both are happy? I think that kind of communication needs to take place, because
I
otherwise coexisting or maintaining coherence in the workplace is very difficult, and sometimes it happens with manager and employees, manager and subordinates. They are
Right.
not communicating. They are not communicating. If your manager does not communicate with you, or if you don't tell your problems to the manager, how? And sometimes it also, you also have to think, keep yourself in the other person's shoes. See, the manager also reports to somebody else. They have their set of pressures, they have their set of deadlines, they have their set of pressures. You may not even know what is their pressure level, what is their level of pressure, until and unless you reach that level. So it is, and we are often, we assume a lot that okay, the person, my manager has not responded means my manager is ignoring my request. Your manager may have some other task. I'll tell you, in my professional, I'm a career content strategist in an IT company, and in my current role, in my current company, I am serving the fifth year. So, and till date, I have had a lot of arguments with my manager, but I always give him the due respect, because obviously my manager knows something more than me. Definitely, because of age, experience, and the kind of background he has, he knows more than me. Definitely. And I should respect that.
Right. This is so a large part of your book is about being happy at the workplace, managing everything at the workplace, while the first part is about delving into the self. So, first, you talk about how a person should delve into their own selves and understand more. And in the second part, you talk about how, you know, about the workplace. So and we did speak a little bit about the workplace. So let's move into the first part and talk about, how can one excavate or understand oneself?
So the process I follow is that I have been hired for this role, I have been recruited for this role because of my skill sets. And because the company considers me that I will provide value through my contribution, and I will contribute to the growth of the organization. Because obviously that is why you are recruited. You are not recruited, and no company does charity. No company is doing charity by recruiting you. It is not a social, it is not a charitable cause. You have been hired because you have some skills, and you have to constantly analyze your performance, and you have to be brutally honest. I am using the term brutally honest, whether you have been an asset or a liability for the organization. What it means is the kind of salary that you are drawing and the kind of performance that you are delivering. Does the two match or not? If it does not, I am sorry, you are cheating yourself and the company. Because that then it means you work for, and you are being paid for doing no work, right?
But nobody feels that, right?
That
Till
is because,
now, I
no, that is because we have not been trained. We have not been trained in this to think like this. If everybody
no, but
starts
I'm
taking
sure
accountability, I think accountability is a major problem.
accountability. Correct.
Accountability is a major problem, not only in India but all across the globe. Accountability, because I think we are masters in pushing the blame to others. That okay, because of person X I could not complete the work. We will start finding the loopholes rather than acknowledging our own shortcomings.
That's very interesting that how the mind is trained first, and especially we are trained to blame others. I found it very amazing while it was very engaging to see the little stories that you have shared, okay, while explaining the strategies. So, which story appealed to you most? And in the entire book, and here in the stories you have observed, I have seen interactions between people, and so which story or incident have you liked most, and what did you learn from it?
That's an interesting question because if you ask me what stories I liked is, so there are many. There are many as mentioned in the, but I would say I would just like to read about Richard Reeves, author Happy Mondays, believes that happiness should not be considered an abstract term. John Helliwell, an economist from the British Columbia University, conducted a research on well-being and happiness. The study was based on surveys of about 1 lakh people worldwide. His findings have created a huge impact on the implications of a happy workplace. He emphasized that a better relationship between employee and employer is the key to success. See, that is the key. If you, like, we call it Monday blues. Why do we term it Monday blues? What is what is see, after 2 days of break, aren't you motivated to go to work? Why aren't you motivated to go to work? You have to find the reason. Why aren't you motivated to go to work? Is it because you are not happy with the role, or you are not happy with the job you are doing, or do you have any issues with the manager? Like, I haven't, in my current company, I have never experienced Monday blues. I don't know what is Monday blues. Never. In my 5 years of tenure at Abstract, I have never experienced Monday blues because the 2 days of break.
Let me pause you here. Let me pause you here. You are saying 5 years you haven't experienced, but you say that before that, it you have implied that you have experienced. So, what is the difference between your previous employer and now? That difference in culture that makes you embrace Mondays.
So the previous employers was like, I did not consider myself as a good fit in the company itself because the company culture and my own personal work ethic did not match. But that I realized very late. That I realized, and the time, the moment I realized, I served my resignation. I said I feel I can't change my basic nature. I have a working principle and I have work ethics. So if my manager does not support my work ethic and asks me to go against my work ethic, that is something. So there are a set of non-negotiables that I create for myself. That these are my checklist. This is my checklist. What I want from my job. Salary is there. Yes, salary is one of the secondary items. It is not the primary item. It is not
So,
a
what are
primary.
the primary items?
Primary items is, first, I should get a challenging work environment where I will be given multiple projects, different projects, learn something new. For me, in all my interviews, when I have the HR round, they ask, "What do you expect from the job?" I always say that there should be a continuous learning growth. I should learn every day that I am going to work. It should not be a monotonous 9 to 5 or a 9 to 5 job. I should learn something. So that's why I think content marketing has offered me the right profile, because I have switched from various profiles, from HR to logistics to sales to financial sales to onboarding, HR generalist, and then finally I settled down in content marketing, and I have been doing content marketing for the last 10 years, and I have never been so happy. I have never been so happy in my life. I feel I have achieved success on my own.
That is beautiful. So, how did you come to this? I mean, hearing this, Devika, that somebody is actually happy and has explored, this is very inspirational. And you must have gone through downs. Uh,
So
what
there
is the
was
lowest that you've hit?
the lowest was that I was out of job for 6 months, and like 6 months of unemployment. That was a very scary period for me because I was like in with my fickle minded nature. I was like, I am not getting satisfaction anywhere. What should I do? Which role suits me best? How should I try? So that is the time, and that is the time when content marketing came my way, and it came as a blessing. And yes, I have been happy since then.
In fact, could you tell all our listeners, okay, everyone who's listening to you, that they have all been through such dilemmas in their lives, right? People have been through many dilemmas. So, how do they train their mind to not torture them too much, so to say, in such situations?
See, any problem has multiple solutions. You have plan A, plan B, plan C. You have to be very, first of all, what happens is we have to be very certain and definite when we take a decision, that if it
Mm-hmm.
does not go right, if it does not go right, I will not be disappointed. I have a backup plan. I have a backup plan. Or you should train your mind to a certain extent, that train your mind to believe that failure will happen. You will fail. Success is not success has been glorified and glamorized so much that we feel that failure is a very big taboo. Failure is a big taboo. I think that is something we have to break, that stereotype. It is okay. So how I got rid of this mindset is, I used to tell myself that I have failed because I have tried. At least I have tried. If I did not explore so many options, I wouldn't have known that content marketing is present. And from each role I have had something to learn. So there is, like many people say, my mother was also very concerned when I used to switch jobs in 3 months, 6 months. She used to say you are very unstable, and this kind of being unstable will not take you anywhere in life. I said I will not, I will keep exploring until I get the right option. As simple as that. I think that is something where you take accountability of your life. You take ownership of your life and don't let others influence you. I think that is something you have to be mentally strong about, that I am the master of my life. If anything goes wrong, that is my doing. If anything goes right, that is also my doing. Nobody has, okay, I'll be grateful to the people who have contributed to the right decision, but ultimately it is I who have to take the decision. Nobody else takes decisions of my life. I think that is the mindset I have now.
That's beautiful, Devika. That is beautiful. In fact, I'll just go back to something you stated at the beginning of the conversation. You said that the mind game is influenced by The Alchemist a little.
Yes.
So, can you
Yes.
tell me how or why you like The Alchemist? And what about The Alchemist influenced mind game?
I have read The Alchemist umpteen number of times. I don't know. I don't know what attracted to me, what attracted me to the book, but I found it was so profound. It was so profound, but yet so simple to understand. And I think the way Paulo Coelho has explained life and the choices that one person has, a person has in life. I think that has been beautifully. The writing style is simply magical. I am amazed by the writing style, and it was like the book was talking to me. And I think many a times it happens when you are in a dilemma, you get the right solution, maybe from people or from books, or something else comes as an angel in your life. So I think The Alchemist came at the right time in my life when I was in a period of dilemma, and I think that is why it has influenced me in and also my avid reading of philosophy and human behavior since teenage. I think that was also a natural attraction towards The Alchemist.
Right. So, what about The Alchemist influenced the mind game?
I won't say that. I'll say the entire book. I can't. I can't select portions, but the entire vibe that the book gave. That is what inspired the mind game, because I wanted to create a similar vibe for the readers, like that they should connect with the book immediately, that immediately they read it, it should connect with the people. And I think that the book has achieved it successfully.
Yes, in fact, the book is filled with gems, okay, lines such as gems, okay. It seems like these memes that you see and you want to share immediately. So it's like your book is full of these memes, and unfortunately I cannot share them because it's a book. But you know what kind of got me hooked, Devika, was this one sentence. It's on page 15. Avoid being avoid being judgmental while trying to explore and understand your feelings. Personal ideas, experiences, and judgments make it hard for a person to identify the true feelings. And I was like, yes, this is something we don't realize, that our previous experiences, our conception of right and wrong will not even let us understand what our true feelings are. And if we want to behave in a certain manner, we first need to understand ourselves. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and ever since that, I must say, this book got me hooked. And I kept on reading. So it was more like a guidebook to self rather than mind games. Because here you are trying to tell everyone, or rather, you're trying to tell the mind to pause and allow the heart to accept it for itself.
Definitely, because when the heart and mind will be in sync, you will be healthy. You will be a healthy person and a happy person. It is
Yeah,
this is the objective of the book, like you said earlier. Also, what was the inspiration behind writing the mind game? That create a balance between the heart and the mind. You don't need. It's okay to feel bad. Like I had mentioned in one of the videos that I had posted on Instagram, that बुरा लगना स्वाभाविक है. It is okay to feel bad. You don't need to listen to external voices and tell yourself, no, 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 I will not feel bad. Feeling bad is not a right thing. Who has said it is not a right thing? And why isn't it a right thing? Why is feeling bad wrong? Who has said it? Just because people outside have said it, you can't negate the feeling. It is happening. It is, you are feeling bad. So feel bad. What is the big deal?
that's lovely how you destigmatize feeling bad. In fact, before we close, my last request, it's not a question anymore, to you would be to read a passage from the book that that resonates most with you.
I will read a passage from page 11. It is something I want people to understand very, very, like word by word. I want people to understand what I want to say. Belief systems are instrumental in shaping human behavior. They determine how you interpret and respond to universal actions. For example, If a child is raised in orthodox value systems, he may tend to behave in an orthodox manner. If a child is brought up in an isolated environment, he will never know that one race is superior to another, or one person is more powerful than the other, or the color of one's skin determines the degree of his or her beauty. When a child grows up in a certain belief system, the real personality gets hidden. He starts behaving in the way his belief system expects him to. This not just happens in societies and households, but also in organizations that develop their own belief systems. We are so we are so used to boxing ourselves that okay, we are this and we cannot go further. But we do not tend to explore that a human being can explore the universe which is limitless. Then why are we boxing ourselves? Why are we categorizing ourselves? That we should look a proper way, we should look this way, we should dress up this way, we should talk this way. Okay, there are certain systems, like when you are at the workplace, your behavior should be your decorum. It is a decorum that we should follow. But why should we follow that decorum when we are outside the office? We get so we pressurize ourselves by boxing ourselves and putting ourselves in different boxes, that we our real self is our real identity gets hidden. We don't know who is real Joey, who is real Devika, what is Devika. If I ask you one question, who is Joey, what will you define? How will you define yourself in one line? Define Joey in one line.
How do you solve a problem like Maria? So I would define myself as a problem that's unsolvable, very much inspired by Sound of Music and Maria.
And it's a good problem. See, everybody is problematic. That is what everybody has come with their series of problems. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. You think you are a problem. I think I am a problem. But still, we can coexist. We can coexist and help each other to solve our problems. That is
Yes,
how.
and if anyone wants to find out why or how we, with our different problems, can coexist, please
Yes.
order my game. On that note, we will thank you for this fabulous conversation, Devika. I had a lot of fun. It was like philosophy and conversation, and I'm sure everyone felt very engaged as we, navigated these emotions, getting into the workplace, getting into what we feel, and and most importantly, getting to know the mind that wrote the mind game. On that note, thank you, Mona. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Devika and Joey. I don't know about our viewers, but I certainly feel very energized. I feel positive, and I'm sure this discussion has made all of us think again about ourselves, about society, about our near and dear ones, about our loved ones. Please, viewers, read this book. It's certainly going to help us. And the discussion was just fabulous. Thank you so
And
much, two gorgeous ladies, and wish you a very, very, very successful journey ahead. And thank you so much. On
thank you.
behalf of Readers and Writers Club, all the best to you both. Thank you.
Bye bye. Happy
Bye.
Saturday.
Happy
Thank you.
happy weekend.